I'm presuming it's a 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles in 15 seconds. And it's Tuesday, the 1st of July, AD 2025. Happy White History Month. What a day. Hey. So I'm live. I ought to be live on pilled.net. Yep, indeed I am. As well as punchy.tv/Hake. And of course, YouTube. What's up, Cloud Bops? Lord Spike Protein. He's last. The last shall be first. Krabby Turtle. A great mod on the JLP show, I've noticed. Thor Mode. Lord Hockey. Yeah, people used to call us Hockey. Us Hakes. And others, all you guys, him, Ditty. A fun, loosey-goosey, the Hake Report show. It is White History Month. I know a lot of you guys are pumped, excited. What's up, Joel or Joel? What's up, Everblazer? Hey. That Age of Inversion, Buddy 1205 over on Rumble. Pastor Chatelet rated the stream. Dustin, what's up? Oh, and the D-Live crew, of course. Chirp Alerter, 5000, Kilo Alpha Tango. Nice to see you guys. We're going to have... Oh, here. I'm doing my thumbnail face. Is that a good thumbnail face? I don't know. About 2 minutes in. I feel like I look crazy. But that's okay, right? Oh, look at that. There's some white... Is that white history or what is that? Where is this? Well, it looks like it might be the Mediterranean or somewhere. Maybe it's Italian. But anyway, let's get going. I disclaim everything said on the Hake Report, including by Hake himself. That's me. Including by me, myself. I don't even represent myself. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? You may not know what I mean if you're not a regular listener, but I know what I mean.
At least the water levels.
Whoa!
See, they can swim over there.
Look at all this talking, yapping, Hake. I'll have it up there. This is beautiful, speaking of white, San Dimas Pudding Stone Reservoir. A man-made lake, I guess you would... Well, it's a reservoir, okay? I think. Has a dam and stuff. And I recommend checking it out if you're ever in that area. It's a pretty park. There's fishing, I guess. There's sometimes swimming, sometimes boating. Not too crazy, nothing too crazy, okay? And Mexicans over there having fun at the park, always taking advantage. I don't blame them. Sometimes people play music. Ugh. Benelli Park. Okay, anyway. I turned down the volume so that it wouldn't be yapping. Look at all that. It's too busy. Too busy of a... Too much movement over here, for my taste. Okay, we're going to get going over here on the Hake Report. No endorsement is implied on Bond's part, JLP's part, the network. Okay? Callers call in and say crazy things. I try to put a limit on that, but stuff slips through sometimes, and I'm, So, anyway. Watch out. Okay, the views expressed on this show don't represent Bond or JLP or the network or anything like that. Or even Hake. People are like, oh, you're platforming this or that. Calm down, you commie. Don't be so communist. So mama. You know what I mean? Jelly Bean. Okay. So, in the world, Anyway, guys, I don't know how this happens. The rent's due, by the way. I already paid it because I'm white. Let's just get right on. Let me make sure. With the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake report. The Hake report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake report. The Hake report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake report. The Hake report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake report. The Hake report. La la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. I have my White History Month t-shirt on, as you saw earlier, if you're watching the video feed. And I don't believe that you can get this exact one, because it's white on white. You might be able to, but I don't know. Let's have a look, just to see if that's doable, by going over, we mosey on over to Lee Peterson shop, and scroll down over here. There's the tri-blend version, I believe. Let's see, is this the tri-blend? Unisex cotton crew tee, 100% combed cotton, so that's not tri-blend. And there is gold, there is cardinal red, and there is black for 100% cotton. And this is probably the tri-blend, maybe? Let's see. Oh, that one is 100% cotton as well, according to that. And there's green, gold, or whatever, or yellow, and black again. Oh, yeah, because one of them says July Feels White, and the other says White History Month. They're both 100% cotton. Yeah, so that's why you should jump on it when you see something that you would like, okay? Because it often is a limited edition, okay? Just FYI, JessieLeePeterson.shop is where you can get your swag. Very nice. I'm actually going to work from the Google Doc today, okay? And I have a few things to cover before I get to your calls. If you don't mind, hang tight, people. Look at all that. Turkish police have detained cartoonists over having it was like a nice Muslim. It seemed nice. It was condemning, I guess, the Israel-Gaza bombing, or Iran-Israel bombing, or something like that. By the way, look at John Thune. He looks like a model. He looks like one of those male, middle-aged models, doesn't he? With his hands in his pockets and his nice suit, or I guess it's a nice suit. I can't tell, but it looks nice, you know, nice fitted suit thing. Probably a rhino, but alas. Turkey police detained 4 cartoonists after image authorities say, and after an image that authorities say depicts the Prophet Muhammad, sparks riots, really. Those Muslims? Come on, Turks. I thought you guys were civilized. Uncivilized Turks. Overreacting. I get that you have those rules about don't depict your Prophet Muhammad. Le Man is the cartoon, not to be confused with that other, and that sounds sort of French, right? Sort of reminiscent of Charlie Hebdo, but this was not anything close to as distasteful, if you will, or mocking as Charlie Hebdo. Remember Charlie Hebdo over in France? In France, you can't have the freedom of speech because these Muslims will do terror attacks, multiple terror attacks at Charlie Hebdo. Je suis Charlie Hebdo is how it looks in English. Pardon me, you French-speaking people who are so much more educated than me on your language. Turkish police... oh, Lord, look at this. Look at that. Don't look at it. I'm just lucky that Commie Nonsense lets me be on this website, I suppose. Oh, it's okay. So it's a published political satire. They show a Muslim and Jewish man both with wings and halos because it's mocking the notion that when you die, you get your wings and halo, but it's not true, but people just, I don't think it's true. Oh, I hope not. But people pretend like you become an angel or something. I guess Jesus said in the kingdom of heaven, you're neither married nor given in marriage. You're like the angels. But that doesn't mean that you have wings and a halo. But anyway, shaking hands and greeting each other as bombs fall below. Right? So a Muslim, it's kind of pretending that Muslims and Jews all go to heaven and become angels. And meanwhile, everybody else is going crazy below. I don't know if that's true. It doesn't seem like it, but whatever. And they pretend that it's a depiction of Muhammad and Moses. The prophet Muhammad. I thought it was with an A-D. M-O-H-A-M-M. I thought it was A-D. M-O-H-A-M-M-A-D, not E-D. People do spell it with an E-D at the end, but I thought the prophet... I have to look this up. This is bugging me. Let's find out. Because Commie Nonsense Network wouldn't be the first time that they're wrong. Yeah, see? A-D. Do they ever spell it differently? I know they spell it differently for different people's names. No? Yeah. Let's find out. Not really. Doesn't look like it. Oh, somebody in far left Wikipedia did. Was that just a? Look, in the same paragraph, it spells it two different ways. AD multiple times, and then further down, and too long of a paragraph, by the way, they spelled it ED. In the world, four times or more, five, many times is, anyway, whatever. We're over here checking out this story. And they kicked down the door of this place. Hundreds of people took to Istanbul's main tourist street. I thought Turkey was not that extreme. I guess if they were really extreme, they were calling for Sharia law in protest. Turkish authorities condemned the magazine. Wow, of course. Chanting, Allah is great. Allahu Akbar, probably is what they said, not Allah is great. I bet you that that's just translated because they didn't want to say Allahu Akbar. They didn't want to type it. CNN, very fake news. Vile attack on our beliefs and values. Is that what they said? What, the people overreacting is a violent attack? A vile attack? Or the mocking little cartoon? I want to see the cartoon. I bet they don't show it. Commie Nonsense wouldn't show it. Terrible. Oh, why do they... Look, they did it. What does P-B-U-H... Oh, praise be upon him? Peace be upon him? Oh, Lord. Oh, Muhammad is fictionalized as being a Muslim person killed in Israel's bombardments. 200 million people named Muhammad Idi in the Islamic world. The work does not refer to the Prophet Muhammad. Why are they spelling it that way? The magazine didn't even speak English, right? Probably. I don't know. It was whatever. So that's what's happening in Turkey. Turkey's not so great after all. It's a miserable place. It has people that's... The cartoonists have been detained and have not officially been put under arrest. They detained the cartoonists. Crazy. So should we do that here? I bet you it's going to start happening. I would not be surprised. You know, it's happening in the UK. There's this guy who's violating something called a gag order. A gag order. That guy, Tommy Robinson, talking about the R-word gangs, ape ray gangs. They don't have the freedom of speech in the UK. We don't actually have the freedom of speech in America. We sort of do a little bit more than others, but we don't push it on the world. We accept their restrictions. For money. For money. So that we get out there more. We don't impose it on the rest of the world. That is interesting, sort of, to me. That we don't impose the freedom of speech on the rest of the world. I guess they wouldn't accept it. They wouldn't accept it. And so, like, Facebook censors, I heard. And Google maybe censors for China. Terrible, huh? Terrible. Let me do something real quick because I'm white and concerned, okay? Let me play something in the meantime. Real quick. It's not going to be long. Let's do... A.J. Gallardo, by the way, is white adjacent. He is he's a white Hispanic, right? So I'm going to play his song while I fix something real quick. Hopefully it's not too loud.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Isn't this a nice track? I know I like it. Probably made by a liberal. We don't have the freedom of speech anymore because we've imported liberals into America and we're exporting to liberals.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Okay, thank you guys for putting up with that. I just had to turn off a mic. It was important to me. I like to look out for the good of the studio, okay? Fix it, Hake. I always think, well, I'm not going to say that. Beavis is coming on after this. Let me get to some calls here. 1-888-775-3773. Jaime in Minnesota on the line over here. Jaime, thank you for calling and holding, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are yourself?
Doing fine, thank you.
Hey, I celebrated yesterday the alligator Alcatraz with some alligator Alcatraz hamburgers. No alligator.
Alcatraz hamburgers? Or
Yep.
wait, Alcatraz hamburgers? Is that a brand?
Yeah. No. It's just I made it with a bunch of spices, some Floridian spices to celebrate the opening of that immigration center they got.
Okay, I get it. Nice. So Florida is known for spices, huh?
Not major spices, but spicy. Alligators bite, right? So you need to have some spiciness in your hamburgers.
I'm getting it. I think I'm getting it.
But
nice.
there's so many things to celebrate,
There is.
Iran, the thing in Africa, what is it, Rwanda? I celebrated the Rwanda peace treaty with the Dominican Republic of Congo.
Yeah, isn't that so sweet? Trump is looking out for the forgotten and forlorn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just been...
Because Rwanda, whoever heard of or cares about Rwanda, nobody. Or Congo, whichever Congo country. There's two of them I hear, or I think. And Trump has made a peace deal for them. Isn't that great? That is a man of peace, I think. Seems like it.
Yeah, and with the Iran, those centrifuges, they had like 19,000 of them. Not all of them running, but when they bombed it, all that material was running through there, getting processed.
Okay.
There wouldn't have been any time to pull it out, because if you don't store it correctly, people could end up breathing it, and that's radioactive. Allegedly, the radioactivity of uranium-235, it won't be able to penetrate your skin, the alpha particles. But if it gets into your lungs and stuff, then it'll cause a lot of damage. So if they did, remove any material, it would have been already stored, not running through their machines.
Oh, okay. So the material has been destroyed. I heard that, CNN was adamant about Trump didn't actually destroy their capabilities. They're going to have that capability back in a matter of months, or they could enrich uranium again in a matter of months, not decades. Are they nitpicking and saying something that Trump is not saying? What are they? Is there any validity? Do you know?
They're not being intellectually honest. See, centrifuges aren't just readily available. You got to make them.
Okay.
You can't make, you can't make a good amount to enrich in a matter of months. It's going to take years.
Well, but they can start
the
within a
machines
matter
that
of
they
months.
use.
Okay.
How's that?
They can start within a matter of months, but it's kind of irrelevant.
Well, if they got to start making the centrifuges again.
Okay.
Their centrifuges are destroyed. They're under a bunch of rock.
All right.
So it's like making a.
I don't actually even care, to be honest.
Yeah, it's over.
But
now that it's over,
you're happy about it. You're saying that it is what Trump says, and it's a good thing.
It's a very good thing.
Cool. Iran, I don't really trust Iran. Look at what's happening to Turkey. They're not standing by. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not taking the side of the cartoonists who got detained or whatever, but I'm definitely not for the kissing up to the anger over some cartoon. Which is what their government is doing. So Turkey, Iran, these countries that I kind of like, I don't really have anything against them, but they're not really these great countries that people pretend that they are just because they hate Israel.
Yeah. It's kind of dumb to make a cartoon about religion.
Well, they were not even making a cartoon about the religion. They were just talking about a Muslim and a Jew who both died in this warring, and they call it murder, but in this warring, they both died, and now they're at peace together in heaven or something. Meanwhile, the dumb people who are alive on Earth are fighting and bombing each other, I think is the point.
Muslim and Jewish are religious. If it had been like a Pakistani and a Israeli, then that's not religious. That's national.
Right.
National people. So people took it the way that they wanted it to be taken, which is religion.
Yeah, that's true.
And so why it's so overdone and just, I think those cartoonists probably got what they deserved.
Huh. Yeah.
Stop making cartoons about religion. It's ridiculous. Make it about politics instead.
But religion is politics.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting, man. Well, thank you for your feedback. Yeah. You may be making a valid point that I hadn't really considered.
Yeah. One other thing, the people, the politicians, they keep talking about the Constitution, especially with immigration.
Yep.
It's unconstitutional. The Constitution has nothing to say about immigration. Those are laws made by Congress, and Congress made laws already. Back in the 70s and 80s was the latest law that they passed. So with that bipartisan bill that Biden and Kamala kept pushing, saying that Trump killed it because he wanted to make his election about that.
Yeah.
they wanted to change the laws already in the books to make immigration legal the way that they wanted to do it, which is illegal.
I'm
the
with
way they
you.
were doing it.
I agree. I agree to that. You can't trust anything bipartisan. Bipartisan means evil. And I bet you Trump is going to do stuff that's bipartisan, and it's going to be stuff that a lot of us don't really like.
Right.
There's going to be some stuff that may be okay in the case of like that one guy whom I like now, who had the brain, the stroke. Who's that guy? Fetterman.
Oh.
If Fetterman works with the Republicans and he's the only Democrat to do it, then that kind of bipartisan I'm okay with. But the rest of the bipartisan stuff, they don't do stuff right. And I know that the bipartisans support Israel, but I support Israel, but not in the bipartisan way. I support Israel for in the right way, if there is a right way. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm stepping all over your point. Yeah, the border bill is not to be trusted. It was gonna. I think you're right. They were gonna make the laws more lax. It's not good.
Yeah, and they wanted to confuse people by saying it's unconstitutional. That word with the Constitution, it keeps saying it, and it's so overused. That word needs to be stopped to use.
Yeah,
stop using that word.
It totally is. They've never cared about the Constitution. The Constitution. Somebody made the point in either Jesse's chat or mine that the Constitution is a joke. Not that the Constitution itself was necessarily a joke, but the way that it's treated and stepped all over and twisted over the decades and centuries has turned it into a joke. They've made a mockery of it. These people don't care about what's right. They just want to manipulate into what they think. Yeah.
And the way that politics works is you need to pay a lot of money for advertisement and staff to actually run a campaign, whether it's a mayor or whatever. You got to get your name out there. And these corporations, they come and they say, like ADL or whichever, the one IPAC, the one that people have a big problem.
Yeah, America-Israel Political Action Committee or whatever. Yeah.
Will you do these things? Do you agree with these policies or these things? And if you say yes, they'll help you by doing their own advertisements for you and not against you. So it's like selling your soul.
Yeah, I think there's
to become a politician.
Yeah,
you know, and if you decide to go against it later, then the next year they'll remember it, and then they'll advertise against you. So it's all about money, and there's other ways that allegedly they can sneak money to you into your pockets, but mostly legally in the legal way, they can just only advertise for you. They can't give you a ton of money. So like that
right.
Modani, the Modani guy.
Yeah.
And he won the primary. He didn't win the election. They still got to do a mayoral election over there.
That's right.
And I heard Cuomo is still going to be on the ballot anyways. Is that true?
He may still run somehow anyway, I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, even though he didn't win the primary.
That's right.
Which is good for him,
Yeah.
But
I kind of like the Cuomos, in comparison. It's kind of like the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. The devil that's replacing the devil, there is going to be replaced with somebody worse.
Yeah, Modani may put up a mask for everybody to see, and he may be saying all these things, but the people that are paying for the advertising, they pull the strings.
Yeah, interesting.
And that's the same for both sides.
Yeah,
all sides of politics. That's what politics is.
Does it apply to Trump?
Well, he's got his own strings. He may be pulling his own strings, or people might really like the strings that he's deciding to pull.
Yeah, that's
which is
my
for
that's my
America.
take on a lot of the time when people say, "Oh, you get money from this, you get money from that." When they say that about
Right.
Trump, he gets money
Hmm.
from like these pro-Israel people. Um, a lot of the time, here's a better one. Here's a better example that nobody can dispute or they shouldn't dispute. And the NRA has all these politicians in their pocket. Okay, well, the NRA exists because there's a whole lot of people who support the NRA. And the NRA is kind of rhino, because probably the people are rhino, honestly. The people are pretty loosey-goosey with their principles. And the people who are in office support the right to own guns. There's people in office who do support the right to bear and to own and carry awesome guns. And so that's a principle that they support, and they get money from people who also support it. And the motivation for supporting the right to carry awesome guns is motivated by a principle and not the money. It's just they're giving you money because they support you. Not they're supporting you to control you. Anyway, I don't know if I made my point right.
And legally, the money that they don't give the politicians any money legally.
Right. Oh, okay.
They're not giving them, $100 or $10,000 to put in their bank account.
Yeah.
What they're giving them is that they're going to advertise for them when they run for office, when they run for election.
Yeah. True.
Legally. Now, illegally, it might be something else.
Nice. That's fair.
But it's not as, yeah. Well, all right. Happy White History Month.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Take care.
I'm going to celebrate with grilled cheese with mayo on it.
Oh. How about grilled cheese? Okay, grilled cheese. Let me do this. Grilled cheese, whatever kind of cheese. Sometimes grilled cheese and bacon on sourdough. Sourdough bread is the way, with butter on the outside.
And mayonnaise.
No mayo,
You got to make
man.
it white. You got to put mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise is gross. Are you trolling me, or do you really like mayonnaise?
No, I'm not going to do that.
I don't like mayo, but mayo is white, so some people think, oh, you're white and you don't like mayo. I didn't know that it's just egg whites, right? Isn't that what it is? Egg whites and vinegar or something like that? So
Yeah, I learned that a long time ago, yeah.
Maybe I need to get over, maybe I need to grow up and stop being so fitty-fied, picky. But anyway, thank you, man. Happy White History Month. Take care. Some super chats before I get back to the calls. There were multiple ones from Pork Chop Express, from Evil is Real, from Cesar or Caesar, from Lin Yen Chin, who says, "You, why are you so you?" He asks. Because I didn't understand him saying, "Mark, you're nice enough for a senile entity trying to protect humans from us POC, but racism isn't real. You're either a fed or a woman in the body of a man to discard freedom of expression and freedom of association as so-called racism/crime." And so I'm like, what do you mean, Lin Yen Chin? I don't get it. Did Mark say something? Well, Mark states oftentimes, every single time he calls practically lately, racism saves lives. You know, because Mark and my frequent guest, Krishan, the Dawn of the Misfit Nation, they both believe that racism is real and that it's sometimes quite good. A good thing. And I explained, says Lin Yen Chin, the term is just a way to criminalize freedom of expression and freedom of association. But are you ever not confused about everything? Asks Lin Yen Chin, which is a great question. Hake is often confused. And speaking of confusion and the term racism, you know how yesterday I was asking Trotsky and Tolstoy. I thought that Leo Tolstoy was the guy who came up and pushed the word racism, but no, it was Trotsky. Leon Trotsky, another Russian. And it starts with Leo or Leon. Trotsky is the guy pushed the racism thing. Leo Tolstoy wrote War and Peace, and he predated the commies. He was kind of a contemporary of Karl Marx, but he wasn't necessarily, I don't know, we don't know if he cared about the Marx thing, but he was, Tolstoy was a Christian. Trotsky, not a Christian, I don't think. More of a, it's incorrect that he pushed racism. Oh, be quiet. They were against racial discrimination, so they pushed the racism word. Okay, he viewed black people in the United States as an oppressed nation within the country and stressed the need for them to have independent political, economic, and cultural power. He supported black nationalism. He criticized white worker prejudices or whatever. Yeah, see, a critic of racism. He pushed the word, pushed the racism word. Anyway, this is Google AI. They don't know how to, they don't understand Hake English. Collaborated with black activists. Trotsky. Education of black propagandists. Whoa. He emphasized the importance of educating and empowering black, and they capitalized the B in the word black because AI is liberal and kisses up to blacks ever since Georgia, Florida. Or they kiss up to blacks since forever. 150 years ago, apparently. Trotsky. Focus on class struggle. He saw the struggle for black liberation is inextricably linked to the broader class struggle against capitalism and imperialism. So Trotsky, Leon Trotsky. Marxists Internet Archive, The Prophet and Black Power, Trotsky on Race in the United States. Did Trotsky invent the word racism? Oh, Lord. Invented the word racist. And this may be bad history. Trotsky invented the word racist, and that's the concept of racism, thus making racist a word that only crypto-Marxists use. And it's supposedly bad history. And people say, actually, he did not. It was pushed by some other guy. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Today I learned homosexual so-called rights are communist. Yep. Somebody on far left extremist Reddit. Nice. So yeah, Trotsky. So shout out to, I didn't want to look up Tolstoy. Yeah, Leo Tolstoy. Oh, Lord. Leo Tolstoy was not Leon Trotsky. Leon Trotsky, a Russian revolutionary, Soviet politician, meaning a phony, and political theorist, key figure in the 1905 revolution, October Revolution of 1917, Russian so-called Civil War, Lev Davidovich Bronstein, better known as Leon Trotsky, a revolutionary. Revolutionaries are evil. They try to call Jesus a revolutionary, but he wasn't. These people are violent, evil people. Look at him. He just looks crazy, I say. Whereas Tolstoy looks wise, chill. Not chill. He doesn't look that chill. 1828 to 1910. Lev Tolstoy. Count. He was a count. Count Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy, referred to in English as Leo Tolstoy, Russian writer, regarded as one of the greatest and most influential authors of all time. So, and he died at the tender age of 82 years old. How long did, what's his name, live? Trotsky, 1918 to 1925. Wow. Wait, what? Oh, no, that was his office. He was in office from that time. Oh, anyway, whatever. I don't know. Let me see over here. 1879 to 1940. Okay, so he was much younger. Oh, he was assassinated in 1940. That's not right. That's not right. See, do they assassinate good people or only evil people? That's not right, though. Is assassination ever the answer? Trump assassinated somebody, right? Didn't he assassinate Soleimani? I guess that was okay. Because that was more justice. Right? Can we call it justice that Trump did that? What a mess. Men duking it out in the world. All's fair in war and so-called love. They say all is fair in love and war. So I guess whatever. Anyway. So yeah, it was Trotsky. It wasn't Tolstoy. Shout out to Daniel in Texas. I had me all confused. And yes, Lin Yen-chin, no, Lin Yen-chin, I am not ever not confused about everything. All right, so just that clarification. Thank you, guys. Speaking of, evil is real. Bought a coffee. Buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report at 16:22, yesterday's show. It was explicitly stated when God created the world, he put black people in Africa, the Chinese people in Asia, and white people in Europe. He did not intend for us to mix. Was this Coco Reads the Bible Hour? How do you claim to be a Christian and get Genesis 1 wrong? God created two people, says evil is real. They were both placed in the Garden of Eden. After expulsion, they proliferated, and then all of humanity was recondensed on one boat. Then after that was the Tower of Babel, Tower of God. And then God scattered humanity and confounded their language. So off only by 2,200 years or so. This is why IQ matters. This is either early onset dementia or lifelong low IQ rambling. Is that really what happened, though, with the... I don't know. Maybe. But the Bible... I don't know, man. I don't know. Evil is real. Because you don't want to put words in the Bible's mouth, you know? I don't know if he's putting words in the Bible's mouth, actually. Is this the real evil is real? I can't tell. But it does sound sort of like evil is real. Interesting. Thank you, sir. Cesar Caesar. 3 coffee sub. Hey, caught a little bit of your report yesterday. Wanted to give you my input on pot. As someone who's smoked since I was 18 till this year, age 34, doxed, I can honestly say I've sounded so much like your California caller trying to justify my pot smoking. I would even get combative when others would try to convince me to give it a break. SMH, shaking his head. And looks like a Latino maybe shaking his head. Is it a black Hispanic or a white Hispanic? Don't know. Last year I decided to take a break from it for about 5 weeks, and I truly had more energy and also a drive to accomplish so much more. This is something that it's hard to see if you are on it. So John McAfee, if that's how you pronounce the name, MC capital A-F-E-E, is correct. It does create an illusion for the smokers. Drop the pot, all caps, says Cesar. But you will notice, Caesar or Cesar, that it was of your own volition, if you will. It wasn't from others trying to convince you to give it a break necessarily. But nice. People should do it on their own. It's good to encourage people, I suppose. But not to harp on it and like try to force people. as wise men rightly say, do what you want, of course. But yeah, I think I agree with you. You know, as I was listening to Alex in California yesterday talking about, you know, he stays up all night, works into the morning and continues working. And he has gotten so much better at his drumming, worked away at his drumming and working multiple jobs, I think he does. And he dabs, if you will. I disavow. I disclaim. Every day, he's always on it. I don't know, according to him, and always doesn't mean always necessarily. But I was wondering at the time, is, for example, the drumming thing, he has drummer brain, so he multitasks very well, he says. Because drummers do like multiple things with their hands and feet all at the same time. And it's very nicely done, you know? It's not all just chaos. Is that such a great thing? You know, because the pot gives you the illusion, and many times people are already on the illusion that they're thinking great thoughts and doing great things. As John McAfee said in that clip that I played yesterday, is that great? Would he be better off without it? Would it be like you mentioned, people are always either eating or drinking or doing pot or doing whatever, going into the imagination or on some type of drug, metaphorically or physically, sugar and all that stuff, alcohol, marijuana, whatever. Separating a little bit from reality, getting a feeling, chasing a feeling, keeping a feeling. What's wrong with you that you need feelings? Is there a man is rich, a wise man has said, in the number of things he can afford to do without. Something like that, right? Interested. Thank you, Cesar or Caesar, for your 3 coffees. It is interesting. Fast from the thrills, the pleasures. You know? Sweet. So Adam and Eve. I don't know, man. He going back to the Adam and Eve thing. I don't know. Maybe he scattered those people to separate them. When God created the world, it was okay. It was a little after, around the same time, right? As far as we care. I don't know if he's, yeah, whatever. I don't know, evil Israel. It's interesting. I really don't get, honestly, the people who say that we're not supposed to mix. I agree, sort of. It seems wrong. You look at it, oftentimes it looks wrong when people are mixing the races, even though lustfully it's tempting. Oftentimes, people like something that looks exotic to them because they're so used to seeing their own race, so they want to see something special, or they are raised among these other races, and so they start getting attracted to these other races. You know what I mean? It does look wrong. But to call it a sin, and, you know, I get that the Bible says don't mingle with these other nations, but it was about not following after their gods. Anytime you get with a woman, you're following after her god, which is the devil, usually, right? And because you're putting her as your false god, men, right? But then it's kind of perverted on top of it to get with a different race, seemingly. It's like a gateway almost. I don't know. I don't want to say that. But anyway, it's like, it doesn't look right. I agree. On rare occasion, it might, oh, that's a good looking couple. But it's because you're so used to seeing it. But I don't get like they're saying the Bible or it's a sin or whatever. I don't think it's necessarily that serious. But shout out. I'm reacting to the notion that people sometimes claim that God did not intend for us to mix. And I don't think that he intended for us to. But I don't know if he cares like you and I might care. Like parents don't want their kids to get with a different race, usually. The more sensible, less liberal brainwashed ones anyway, you know? I'm not trying to justify anything when I say this, but Moses got with an Ethiopian woman. Was Moses black? I don't think so. But the Ethiopian woman, I think she was black, right? Or whatever she was. And then the Israelites, one of them got with Rahab the prostitute. And Rahab was she was from Jericho. She was an Israelite. And Rahab the prostitute was one of the mothers or grandmothers or great something grandmothers of Jesus, I guess, according to some lineage. But I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying, I don't think that God did. I get that Solomon chased after all those women's gods because he was a woman, all into women. But all these white men who are for white women only, if they're worshiping the white woman, that's perverted. 2. When I say 2, I'm spitting and also saying it's perverted also. Anyway, whatever. Okay, so pot. Abstain. Abstinence. And mixing. Let me get back to the calls. Well, how you guys doing? What's up, Mr. Pink? Nice to see you. ICA. Meli. Or is it Meiji? Argalunas. No, I'm for getting married. I'm fine, of course, get married with the Hake. As Congressman Steve King rightly said, birth control, preventing people from getting contraception, that's not health care. If we drop below replacement rate, we are a dying civilization. So, of course, I'm for getting married. Oh, by the way, Pork Chop Express says Happy White History Month, speaking of dying civilization. Pork Chop Express says Happy White History Month. Hey, shout out to Joseph Warren, a total alpha who died at Bunker Hill. He says that died, but it's who died at Bunker Hill. That's his white history hero, Joseph Warren. American physician. Oh, he was a doctor. Physician is better than doctor. Maybe. Look at that face. He's such a plain Joseph. Like a plain Jane, but he's a man. June 11th, 41 to June 17th, 1775. Wow. A founding father of the United States, called No Man Father. A founder of the United States was an American physician who was one of the most important figures in the Patriot, capital P, Patriot, movement in Boston during the early days of the American Revolution. I wonder if it's a communist rewriting of history that they called it a revolution. Because I'm against revolutions now. They're communists. They're anti-peace. And these were men of peace, but I don't know. Maybe they weren't. Whatever. 34 years old, gone too soon. His widow was Elizabeth Hooton. Oh no, his wife was Elizabeth Hooton. I don't know if she died at 1772 or if they divorced or what. Did they have divorce back then? Descendants, Mary Warren, Richard Warren, Joseph Warren, Elizabeth Warren. Siblings, John Warren. So this Joseph Warren guy, a doctor, honored by the U.S. National Park Service, well-respected American physician, revolutionary, they call it, leader. I don't know. Wow. He enlisted Paul Revere and William Dawes in April 1775 to leave Boston and spread the alarm that the British garrison, the Redcoats, are coming, I think, right? Setting out to raid the town of Concord, and arrest rebel leaders John Hancock and Samuel Adams. Yes, the beer guy. He was better than just beer, though. He chose to participate in the battle as a private soldier rather than, exercise his rank. Killed in combat. British troops stormed the whatever that word is. It looks like redoubt, whatever that is. Pardon me, people, I don't know English. Atop Breed's Hill. Death immortalized in John Trumbull's painting. The death of General Warren at the Battle of Bunker's Hill, June 17th, 1775. That's more than a year before July 4th, 1776, I will have you know. Second President of Massachusetts Provincial Congress. Preceded by John Hancock, succeeded by James Warren. Wow. Well, thank you for the contribution, the White History contribution, man. Pork Chop Express. Total alpha male who died at Bunker Hill. Rest in peace. Nice. I guess. As a kid, and to this day, I've never really liked stories of people dying. I never even liked, as a kid, the story of Jesus dying. I liked Easter because he rose again. And because, candy, and I like the color green, like that fake grass stuff that's in the Easter baskets. But I never liked stories of people dying. Ooh. So rest in peace, Joseph Warren. Pork Chop Express's White History Hero. What's up, Coffee Talk with Sandra, KOC, who gifted the cookie over on pilled.net. Very cool. I'd like to get to Terry in Oregon, who's on the line over here. Terry, happy White History Month to you.
Yeah, happy White History Month, Hake.
Thank you.
Amazing.
It is.
Well, I called to talk about the Tartarian conspiracy with you and see what you think about it.
You'll have to.
I guess it's related to White History Month. I don't know.
You'll have to tell me about it because I may have heard about it.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure I understand it completely myself either, but basically it's a lot of people speculating that there's been a historical cover-up and that there was this civilization that predated, I guess, ours, especially in the Americas, and there was basically it was destroyed, and there's different theories as to how, but we have like remnants of it still with a lot of like these older buildings that are done in a completely different style compared to our civilization, which doesn't really account for beauty and architecture. So a lot of the time they'll go, the people that are into it, they go around like analyzing dates and when things were built and like population. Where I live, Portland is under scrutiny because there was a World's Fair here and they built all these structures that got taken down, although not all of them did. And they did this in a number of cities around the country where there were these like magnificent, opulent buildings that were built and taken down, which didn't make much sense. And it just, I don't know what to think about it so much because I don't really believe there was an ancient or this culture or society that got destroyed and taken over and replaced. But I do think it's interesting that there is such a technologically big difference between how buildings are created nowadays versus in the past.
Yeah, even 50 or at least 100 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
the buildings were so nice and cool, sort of. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some of these high rise, I think it was money motivation, sort of, and efficiency with these cities and things. You know, there was this one guy who I was watching a little documentary about, who was he was behind the steel. Who was the big steel guy? Back in the
Oh
day.
man.
But
Nice
he was
white
behind.
man.
He was behind. Yeah, white man. He was
Come
behind.
on, chat.
Say again. Oh, come on, chat.
Come on the chat.
Steel guy in
Who was
history.
the big steel baron?
Yeah, Andrew Carnegie. Andrew
Yes.
Carnegie started making steel, or had built had factories. Started some factories that started making a bunch of steel, or made deals with factories and stuff like that. You know. And he expanded the steel industry in America, and they were making bridge. They made a bridge, and then they started making buildings for the people who were moving into cities looking for jobs to live in. These, you know, sort of high-rise buildings type of thing. And I think a lot of those, I don't know if I want to accept this. He became the Tartarian candidate, whatever. And so I noticed that some of these old buildings, they are not very spacious. They're cramped.
That is true. There's downsides to them, definitely.
But anyway, so I don't know if like it was maybe money oriented, why, and then also like the modern art mess and postmodern mess. I don't know why everything's so ugly now, people say.
I mean, not everything is totally ugly, but when you look at a building that's carved out of stone and it has all of the detail, and you go in and there's marble floors and like pillars, it really does make you feel like you're being in a different world when you're used to being in like a steel box all day.
Yeah.
Or just being around that. It definitely has a very different effect on the person, I think, to be exposed to the kind of artistry and craftsmanship that is lacking, I guess, with modern building techniques and architecture.
Yeah.
And a lot of the technology used to build even 100 years ago is basically defunct. Like they were building with steam engines and that kind of technology.
Yeah.
So with repairing a lot of these buildings, it's just so costly too. It's just, I don't know. It's interesting to see how people are speculating. But I don't know. I don't really think it was. There's some things about it that are interesting because they'll point out populations of like Western cities, let's say like on the West Coast. And they're like, okay, so they built this massive building at this time and there were only this many people living in the city, and how many of those were able-bodied men that could even build, versus how much it takes to build things today. So there are interesting discrepancies. I don't know.
That's so funny.
But some of these buildings, I mean, they would take, years to build too with stone.
Right.
So I don't know. I have no idea. It's just an interesting theory, I guess.
And how did you hear about it? The internet?
The internet, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, the first time I heard about it was looking at there's like this flat steel building in New York City. I can't remember. It's like just very bizarrely designed. It's a very thin building. I can't remember the name of it now. I feel dumb, but it's like the Flatiron Building, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
And it's super thin and very ornate and just striking.
Okay.
And it's very tall, actually, as well. So,
is that old one? That's sort of
old.
That's in, because there's a lot of buildings in a lot of different cities. I feel like they sit on a corner, but it's a narrow angled corner, and so it's sort of triangular in its floor plan. And you see the two streets, sort of a fork in the road. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, we've got them here too. Some like old buildings that are.
Yeah, there's one down in, I think, Culver City. It's cool. Mm-hmm. Built in 1902.
Yeah, they are cool. Supposedly.
Oh, so you're saying that this was not built in 1902, according to some?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, according to some people. Yeah, it was built much sooner.
Oh.
I don't know. But I guess I got into it or looking at it or got it.
And so people think that it's a Tartarian construction? Yeah,
they were like, look at Tartarian Tartarian architecture. It was posted on Facebook or something. And I was like, what is Tartarian architecture? Because I'm kind of, interested in old architecture stuff.
Right.
And then I looked up Tartaria, and that's how I got sucked into the thing. And they also have these, they'll post photos of mountains or hills that look like trees that were like massive trees that got cut. There's a lot of interesting things, and they believe in like mud floods that happened that buried large portions of towns, or they'll post like rock formations that when you look at them in more detail look like actually it was a town that got melted.
Nice. I mean,
that sounds horrifying,
actually.
There's this area in the Middle East that is considered to be the site of Sodom and Gomorrah. Have you ever looked at that?
No.
It's like these towns, and they're covered in sulfur.
Wow.
And they look like a town that got melted. So I guess it's kind of similar to that. I would suggest looking that up, too. It's interesting to look at.
Yeah. It's creepy.
Hey, I mean, history is creepy.
I suppose so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for your contribution.
Even white history.
Is it a white thing to be into this conspiracy?
I think so.
People do think that Trump is the Tartarian candidate, I guess, that he believes in it.
Really?
According to some Bloomberg article that I skimmed just now. I don't know.
He believes in Tartaria. That would be interesting.
And he's going to bring it back.
He's a builder himself.
Right. And his buildings are beautiful and golden. But they're sort
very
of modern.
Yeah,
they
very
are.
Modern.
Yep.
He took one of his big projects in New York was this hotel that he revamped, and it was like an old-fashioned hotel, and he basically made it taller and put the steel and like big glass windows over it of this like old brick building.
Was it the
post
office?
Was called the Commodore.
No,
okay. It was a hotel. It was the Commodore Hotel, I think, and then it got turned into, I don't know the name of it, but it was one of his first hotel projects.
Okay, because there was one in D.C. that he called it the old post office or something like that, and he fixed it up a long time ago or recently or something.
Yeah, I don't think he believes in Tartaria. I don't think that's
Yeah, I don't think so either. Nice.
He'll have to call in.
Yeah. One day.
One day. All right, Hake. Well, that was all. Have a good day.
You as well. Thank you, Terry,
Bye.
in Oregon. Bye. Alan in Michigan is on the line over here. Alan, thank you for calling and holding, man. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Interesting show. Especially Tartarian.
You familiar?
Into that, and I'm pretty. Pardon?
Are you familiar with the Tartarian stuff?
Yes, I'm very skeptical of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very skeptical. But in any case, basically, and I want to focus, I tend to get unfocused.
Nice.
I want to shout out to the people from not only your call in, but Jesse's, who are trying to help Jesse because of that very unfortunate fall that he took. I'm just glad that he's okay.
Yeah.
And the outpouring of sympathy and suggestions. He's 4 years younger than me, and I'll tell you, I'm not trying to boast here, but really, I think I'm in better shape than he is, and I've had problems too. And I'm not going to recommend anything. I'm just saying maybe he needs to detoxify, and there are modalities for that. And in fact, I'm going through a current one now that's helping me, but I'm not going to go into detail. I just want to shout out and I'm very happy to hear that people are wanting good things to happen to him because we really need him around. He has some great truth. I love blacks because you know why?
Why?
Blacks who are honest are more truthful about race than white people.
Interesting.
Yeah. I've run into that on a personal level. And the first time I heard the N-word used, which I never use, I just don't use it, was blacks talking about other blacks at a factory I worked in.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
But in any case, to go on to the main subject, several weeks ago, I had mentioned something I called the Bimbos in space, these women that went up in this capsule. Well, I've done a little more research.
Yeah. Is space real? Oh, Lord.
People say, in centuries past, there was no empty space. They called it the ether.
Right.
So there's something there. We just can't see it in our present form. That's where I'm at right now. That's the best I can come up with.
But space, the way that the people today, the astronomers today understand it, is not right?
Oh, I think that, I'm not a flat earther. I believe the ball thing. I'm
Nice.
a ball tard.
Right on.
And it's whatever, the movement of the planets and all that, in my mind, it still works. It works fine unless something comes to really shake me.
Yeah.
I'll accept that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But
you
in any
accept
case-
the astronomers' understanding of space at this time?
Yeah, correct.
Nice.
For the most part.
Okay.
The Bimbos in space thing, as I said, there were more research. And, I brought up the idea that the rocket is shaped like a phallus.
Ugh.
The capsule is shaped like a certain part of the, male. I'm trying to keep this clean and family oriented.
Well,
But
you already crossed the line for my taste.
okay, well, I'll leave that there. But
Okay.
patch, there is a mission patch. And I looked at it, and I thought, boy, that's an odd-looking spacecraft that they have. And then I turned it upside down. And you know what I came up with? That so-called spacecraft upside down is the image of Baphomet. Baphomet is the pagan god of Satanism.
The goat-looking,
Exactly.
demon-looking person, almost torso-looking thing.
Right. Now, according to
And you're saying that the Amazon the Blue Origin spacecraft that went up into space, when you turn it upside down, it looks like Baphomet?
Yes. And this
Ugly,
this
huh?
is more evidence to what I believe is that NASA is the reconstitution of the ziggurat temples of ancient Mesopotamia.
Oh, and would you also call it kind of like the Tower of Babel? NASA being the Tower of
Exactly.
Babel type of thing?
Exactly.
Because I'm not familiar with is the ziggurat what that was? The
Yes,
Mesopotamian
it was a step
ziggurats?
pyramid with a blue temple at the top, And that's where the priestess or priestess would meet with the god. And I'm not going to go any further with that.
Okay.
Because I think if you're adult, you can understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
That's it. However, Herodotus, the ancient Greek historian in the 5th century BC, went to Babylon, and they had a law, very interesting law.
He's the guy who I kept on mispronouncing as Herodotus because I'm confused about everything.
I think it. I don't think it matters.
Herodotus, you called him.
Herodotus.
That sounds righter than mine. Nice.
Yeah, probably both are okay.
I don't think so.
They had a law that before a woman got married, she had to go to the temple compound, and there was an area where she would sit and wait for a man to come by, and he would toss a coin to her of whatever denomination, and he would say, "The goddess Mylitta prosper thee," and that woman was required to go and have intimate relations with that man before she got married. Then she was allowed to leave the temple and get married. This is nothing but feminism, in my opinion. It is feminism. Oh, enjoy yourself. Go, girl, go. You don't need no man. And then, later on, you can settle down, have a family.
Terrible.
Yeah, but there's more, as they say on television. Guess what? They got another rocket that's supposed to go up, the Blue Origin 2. NS-33, interesting number to use. And it's filled with a bunch of globalists and green Nazis. You know, because I looked up on their site. I believe going to the horse's mouth. This is what they say about themselves. Oh, these people that are going up there. Oh, yeah, okay, fine. But then there's more. I just saw something a couple of days ago on news. Apparently they sent up a rocket with some people filled with canisters of people's ashes from cremations.
Whoa.
And they were shooting them up into space, but what happened was there was a mishap, and they fell into the ocean, and they said, well, they can't recover. There was a movie made in 1964 called The Loved One. It was from a novel by Evelyn Waugh, and it was really a send-up of California and Forest Lawn Cemetery and a lot of other things. The movie was advertised as something to offend everyone, and it did. It offended everyone, especially American exceptionalism or vaunted exceptionalism. And in it, a very rich man who owned this cemetery, it was called Whispering Glades, which is really just forest lawn. And his twin brother works for a studio, and the studio fires him. He loses his job, and he goes and he gets connected with this genius kid who wants to use this little cemetery he's working at just to play around. And he sends off a rocket, and the rocket hits his rich brother's helicopter, almost, kills him. And the brother calls him, what the hell is going on down there? And he says, hey, I'm sorry. This kid, I'm helping him out and everything. Guess what? He can put him in orbit. And the rich guy, he says, yes. This is Jonathan Winters playing the part, by the way, and he does it brilliantly. He says, yes, you can send them into an orbit of eternal grace. This was a comedy, a satire, a mockery, and yet people are doing this today, sending their ashes off into space. This is not only absurd, this is ridiculous. Is it any wonder that this country is the laughing stock of the world for what we do?
When people get rich and spoiled, I think they become more, they descend into all kinds of vanity, I think. So I think that's what's going on. Interesting, Alan, I guess.
Men are evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and do all kinds of, like you said, ridiculous things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to keep it moving.
I laugh.
It's good
Go
hearing
ahead.
from you, man.
I'm finished. I'm finished in more ways than one.
Happy White History Month, man.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the call.
Take care. Alan in Michigan. He knows a lot. And he's fitter than JLP, he thinks. That's crazy because JLP is fitter than everybody at the office, I think. Except maybe Omid. Maybe. Shout out. Stephen in Maryland. Speaking of the our elders, happy White History Month to you, Stephen in Maryland. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. That month got to go. It's
Say
not
again?
a national month, so I don't pay attention to that.
Oh, you don't pay
That's
attention?
happy.
You don't pay attention to it because it's not national?
No, that's right.
Oh, it's international. But it's an
It's not
American
international.
month. White History
Okay.
Month.
That's nice.
Okay, nice.
But anyway, I called to tell you about the congratulations to you on that happy hand you had yesterday. The first three callers,
Yeah.
you had a old bigot or racist. Then you had a young racist, and then you had a wannabe white black dude. I couldn't believe it. But anyway,
I
going
had
back
Mark,
to,
he's referring to Mark, Hayden, and William III
There-
of California.
there,
Those
there you
are
go.
three
Bingo.
high quality and classic and much loved, much known Hake callers. And you're calling
Yeah.
it quite a hand.
That's right. It's quite a hand. An old bigot, a giggling, young racist. He giggles all the time. I don't know why. And then
Who
that's
does?
the racist. The middle one,
Hayden?
Hayden, Hayseed, or whatever his name is.
I feel
He
like
giggles
I
all the
giggle.
time.
I feel like I
He laughs
giggle
at-
more than Hayden.
And he said something that said he.
Oh, you might be right.
The one-
I haven't really noticed that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, going back, start with the first one. I wish Mark to have a long life
Right on.
so he can suffer with all these black people around him. He can't get away from them.
That's so you're kind
David
of
Duke?
malicious. You're not wishing him well either.
That's what I'm wishing him well. I wish he'd stay here forever.
But if you really wished him
I don't
well,
want him to
then you
die.
wouldn't wish him to suffer with all these blacks around. That's not
He's
wishing him well
suffering.
necessarily.
He's not suffering because if he's suffering, he'll move.
You don't know that.
Yeah, I would. If I'm suffering around a place, a bunch of people, I'll move.
Oh.
Get a moving van, move.
All right. Okay. Nice.
Okay. And the second one, the giggling truck driver, it says he owned a home. He doesn't own a home. He's with his daddy, who taught him to be a bigot in the first place.
Lord. So you just called in to just go after my callers?
That's right. Them three hands. Them three cards he pulled up yesterday.
And you're 88 years old now, right?
Yep. Happens a lot.
You're an 88-year-old man, as immature as the rest of us.
Of course. I'm happy too.
Of course. He's happy.
Immature and happy. This is happy. I had a nice long marriage. Come to think of it, where's Mark's wife? He called a guy gay.
It's not
the
your
other day.
business.
He doesn't have one.
You don't know that.
He don't have one. Get out of here.
All right.
He's
so,
a lonely,
so
lonely old.
last
he's a
word,
lonely old white-
Stephen.
My last word?
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoyed your hand yesterday.
Nice. Well, thank you, man.
Losers, all three.
And what are you?
Oh, I'm a winner.
Nice.
I'm just as happy as I don't know what. No philosophy. I'm happy, healthy, cheerful.
Well,
Yeah, cheerful I am.
you outlived your wife, and that is less common than the other
Yep.
way around. Usually,
And she was white,
wives.
too.
Usually, the men die first, and the
That's
women
right.
live
I had a
on.
great wife. I had a Nazi, like I told you.
Would she have celebrated White History Month with us?
I doubt it.
Why not?
Well, she don't believe in that, I guess.
She doesn't believe. She doesn't love white
Yeah,
people.
she had turned
didn't-
liberal because she was living with the Jews.
Right. Well, we
Now,
like
how
Jews
can- you
too.
know,
Jews are white enough to be hated. Oftentimes, you will notice.
I don't know why. Jews are nice people. I love the Jews.
Nice.
But they was with black people all the way.
Well, they're not with the right kind of black people. The ones who are with the black
No, they
people all the
wasn't.
way.
When they was trying to vote,
Yeah,
there were
exactly.
two Jewish guys.
I
They
shake
got
my
killed in
head.
Mississippi. Yeah, they
Yeah.
got killed in Mississippi.
They got killed over.
And one of them was buried alive. Did you know that?
Wow, that's terrible. That's evil.
Yeah, because he wasn't dead. They shot him in the head, but he didn't die. He was
Oof,
buried alive.
that's not good.
That was Goodman.
I disavow that. But think about how ridiculous blacks voting is right now. They voted for Obama at a rate of 96%. You didn't vote for Obama, did you?
Of course.
You're one of the 96% who voted for Obama. Did you vote for him twice?
Yep.
Oh.
If McCain,
You support LG,
McCain-
you support so-called same-sex marriage?
sure, I ain't got nothing to do with what they do in their bedroom.
I'm not
I
surprised.
don't care.
I know, but marriage is
I
not in
don't
the
care.
bedroom. Did you know that?
Say what?
Marriage is not in the bedroom. Did you know that?
Whatever. Wherever
Yeah,
it is.
so you don't
But I
really
ain't got
care about it. You don't care about what's right.
Who said it wasn't right?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything.
You support the fake accusations of racism against white people? Well, you just did one. You just did two, actually.
What racism is going against white people?
No, I said the fake race accusations of racism.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, you support that. You support smearing your fellow man. So I'm not surprised that you're an Obama supporter.
Of course.
But you're 88 years old.
I'll tell you what. If McCain had ran against Trump, I would have voted for McCain.
Really?
I would have voted for McCain against Hillary.
You're that far gone? You would have. Well, of course it would. Everybody would vote for McCain against Hillary. That's not a. But you would have voted for John McCain against Trump?
Yes, sir.
Why?
American hero.
No.
And he's
in
in
what way?
politics.
What did he do to become a hero?
He was a captured air pilot.
He was captured. He's a hero
That's right.
because he
He
was
was
captured.
He was shot down. Yeah.
You got
He was
shot down.
fighting for the country.
You know, I
Yeah.
didn't want to say it, but there was a guy who was honored as a hero who was shot and killed, I guess, or he was killed anyway, in the American Revolutionary War. And he was honored as a hero just earlier on my show. So I don't want to slander the people who get what you don't want to happen to them. You don't want to get captured. You don't want to get killed. John McCain was captured, and that's what makes him a hero, according to you.
So he was a hero. I consider him a hero.
And what did he do to be a
He was a
hero?
prisoner. He was a prisoner of war.
Many people. Can you be a non-hero prisoner of war?
Sure, you can be a hero and not a prisoner of war.
No, I'm saying, can you be a non-hero, but a prisoner of war without being a hero?
Yeah, you talking like Jesse. You talking like Jesse L. Peterson,
Okay.
Them box
You're a
questions.
hero because you were captured, and I wouldn't want to be captured, right? It's not an envy. So is it is he a hero because you feel sorry for him? Because he
Nobody
suffered?
wants to be captured.
Right.
What?
Yeah, most people
Okay.
don't want to be captured. Bo Bergdahl, I don't
Sure.
know. But that doesn't make you honorable just because you were captured and you suffered,
No.
right? Is he
Yeah, you're
is he a
supposed to
hero
use all
because
that
he
fight-
didn't break when they tortured him or something? What makes him a hero?
Because he was captured. And he was fighting for his country, right?
I don't
Doesn't that
know.
make you a
This was
hero?
where was this? In Vietnam?
Vietnam. Right.
Hanoi, the Hanoi Hotel?
Yeah,
Wherever?
all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but how was that for America to be over there in Vietnam?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know
Why were we over
either.
there?
Supposedly we were fighting communism while ushering in communism
Well,
by
there you
way of
go.
the so-called civil rights and mess.
I don't know. I was over in Berlin at the time. I don't know.
Yeah. Was the World War II? Was World War II justified when we got in there? Should we have been there?
Yeah.
I don't
could've
know,
been in
man. I feel like John McCain was resting on his laurels anytime he leaned on that, or if he leaned on that, or people were resting on his laurels that he was okay because he's a war hero or something like that. But he didn't.
Well, how about
Go ahead.
how about those? How about all those crosses in Normandy? Were they heroes?
I don't know. You're talking about the D-Day thing?
No, I'm talking about all those graves in Normandy. You know, with those crosses. And I visit your president called them losers.
I don't know if that's true. That doesn't sound like Trump.
I heard him say it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right.
Now,
Trump really is a man of respect and honor. And so I don't think that you know what you're talking about when you're smearing our greatest president. He's a more I say that he's a realer, which is to say he's a real man, a real person, and a real man.
He's a con man.
No, you fell for the John McCain as a war hero stick,
He
man.
was a hero.
You fall for these phony politicians, which are worse than con men, honestly. So you're
Hey,
I greatly respect you for being 88 and for having been married and raised kids and stuff like that. I really have a lot of respect for you, but I think that your political and your judgment of men, your political wisdom or lack thereof, and your judgment of the character of men is sorely lacking, and I don't quite get why. But
I don't think so.
But I wish you well, man.
I have a good judge of character.
You're a great judge of character?
See, you like, take for instance, you pretend you're a racist. So you go along with the guys like Mark and all those other racists that called in on your show. All the racists they called in your show.
But they're nice,
but they're
too.
really good guys. You're from California. You understand. You grew up with black people and all that stuff.
Not so much black people, a little bit. More Hispanic and Asians.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that I'm a good person.
Oh, no? You're not a good person?
Maybe not.
Got you. Like Jesse, get you on stuff.
Well, I didn't say that. I didn't say that I am a good person.
Well, are you? Hello? You got to think about it?
I'll just call myself, I'm a good guy. We use the term very loosely.
I'm just asking you a simple question. Are you a good guy?
I'm an okay guy, yeah. But I think that Mark is a good guy, and I definitely think Hayden's a good guy. I think William from California is a good guy. I think you're a good guy. It's sort of a meaningless term to mean like overall like gonna be decent more often than not with your the people that you run into in life until you get close to them, and then when you're close to them, then the mask comes off because then the stakes are higher, and then you got the selfishness gets unveiled. So people are really evil at root.
Evil?
Yeah. I'm a Christian, Christians know that people are evil.
I mean, what Christianity got to do with knowing who is evil or not?
It's religion, man. It's culture. It's wisdom.
Yeah.
Right?
All Christianity means is Christ-like. That's what a Christian is.
Well, yeah, we're supposed to be Christ-like. We're not very Christ-like, are we? Terrible.
You the one that said you was a Christian?
Yeah, I know. We use the term loosely.
Oh, now you're using it loosely.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Hake. Sometimes, but you're a good guy. That's what I like about you, Hake. You're a good guy.
Nice.
You try to go along with the other people that call yourself.
That's right.
You put up with them. That's how you are.
Yeah.
You're not like Jesse. Oh, by the way, tell Hayden that Jesse is a millionaire.
Nice. You should be. Are you a millionaire? You're a millionaire, right?
No.
Oh, you're too modest.
I'm what you call middle class.
If you're middle class, millionaire is middle class.
No, it's not. That's way.
Scarecrow is a good guy. Scarecrow's garage is a good guy. In the chat.
I tell you, that's what I like about you, Hake. You're pretty good. You're right. You're right.
All right,
You're a
man.
fun guy.
It's
Hey.
good to hear from you, Stephen in Maryland. Great talking with you.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Take care.
Get rid of that history month you talking about.
No, man. White History Month is beautiful. It's for everybody. You should join
That
us.
goes on.
I
That goes on.
cordially invite you to join us in celebrating White History Month out of
White
love and
History Month is-
appreciation for the country and the people who made it great.
White History Month is 11 months out of a year.
No, you're thinking about anti-White History Month.
No.
No, yeah, that's a whole bunch of anti-white history that you fell for.
Who?
Well, you
Who's
must have.
anti-history?
What's that? Oh, well,
Who's
in
anti-white
general,
history?
people think that people are starting to buy the communist lie that America was built on slavery and genocide. And that's called anti-white. False history. It's revisionist
That's not
history.
anti-white.
And that's why Trump is trying to burn the books and ban the books and stuff like that. Because those are lies and smears and slander and libel against the whites.
What did it happen?
No.
Was there slavery?
There was slavery, but America was not built on slavery.
Where did they get their money from?
Capitalism.
That's what I said. Where did they get their capitalist money from?
Building and stuff like that. The South was relatively poor, actually. Yeah, there were some people who made some money off of cotton. And
That's where
the
most
slave.
of the
Did you know
poor
that the
white folks
slaves
were.
were paid?
It wasn't paid.
Yeah, they were.
What? It
They
keeps
got-
them, something to eat and a house to stay in.
Yeah, what more can you want? Besides your freedom. Shout out. I really gotta run, man. It's great talking
All
with
right.
you. Take care.
Same here. Hey, talk
Bye.
to you later. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. I do like freedom. I mean, I would want freedom to like come and go and move about. But you got to work too. I'm for working as well. Rob in NorCal, Northern California. Rob, I still got to watch the video that you sent. I still got to check my emails.
Hey, what's going on, Hake?
I was
No
just
worries.
thinking of you yesterday because I was like, White History Month, Flat Earth,
Yeah.
ball tardism.
Yeah.
I got to show those videos. I got to see them
Oh, man.
and show them.
I missed yesterday's show. I'll have to go back and watch.
No, I still
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
done it. I was just thinking about it. No, I was thinking about it yesterday after my show and thinking about today's show.
Oh,
But
nice. Yeah, sure. Got to get to that. Yeah, so I wanted to actually comment in on that Tartaria talk that girl called in and explained to you. She did a really good job of explaining all that stuff, by the way.
Nice. Shout out. TERRI, that girl.
Yeah, so I missed her,
You're
her
fine,
intro,
you're
so I don't know what her name is. But yeah, so the rule is truth in the movies, propaganda in the news. And so it's like this
Whose rule is
mudsled
this?
thing. Well, this is a conspiracy.
The conspiracy
theory.
rule is that the
Yeah.
movies tell the truth, brother,
Yes,
and then the
Yes.
news tell lies. Okay.
correct. Yeah, because evil has to tell you what it's doing in order to do it to you. It has to tell you that it's good. It's like Satan has to tell you that he's going to steal your soul in order to steal it, kind of.
And who
Kinda
made this
thing.
rule?
It's just some conspiracy theory rule that I've heard of in my many moons of going down the rabbit hole. I mean, I could.
Okay.
I
Is it
could
kind of
drop
like
some
you have
names
to
on some
invite the
YouTube things, but I
vampire?
won't.
You have to invite the vampire into your home for him to come in.
Well, yeah, but more like the vampire has to tell you what he's about to do. Not,
I
they
want
don't
to
tell it
bite
to
your
you.
hand.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, come in.
Yeah. Definitely not as cartoonish as that, but yeah, that's the basic idea. But yeah, these there's another part of this old buildings thing. But yeah, she touched on the World Trade Fair or the World Fair.
Yeah.
And those were all over the place, and they were huge. They were massive, and like people came from all around to go to those things. And there's definitely a channel that goes over all this stuff, like how all these buildings are these old buildings are so beautiful, and you see a picture of them, and it's like there's guys walking by with like a donkey and a cart and a hammer. You know, it's like how could they have built this when they're like, you know, they're using chisels and hammers, and how can they do this in 1 year?
Yeah.
And all those spires, like the gold tops and the antennas and stuff, and those are supposed to. The Tartarian Empire is believed to have been able to use that to generate energy, kind of like Tesla wanted to do.
Oh.
Tesla wanted to take energy.
You're
out
talking
of
about
the air.
Nikola Tesla, not the company.
Correct. Yes.
If I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Yeah.
That's about as close as I could do.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then so there's also like the mud flood, like in the Bible when it talks about the flood and everything.
Yep.
There's a movie about like Noah's Ark or something, and it shows how the water actually came up from the ground. It wasn't like it rained and rained and rained and rained and rained.
It was raining and the water came up. I think I heard
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is that there's the Hopi tribe predicted 7 great resets, and that there's already been 6. And so the idea is that whoever controls whatever floods everything, and the mud flood comes and just covers up a bunch of stuff, but it leaves a bunch of stuff, but it basically takes away all the people. And so there's like pictures, like a panoramic picture of San Francisco.
Whoa.
And the whole city is there.
Yeah.
And there's like 3 people there. in that picture.
You know,
so it's just,
that's so attractive, honestly. I know that it's demonic, right? To like wish death and destruction and nobody around. But I like to go to places that are sparsely populated or that there aren't many people.
Yeah.
I like to go to restaurants that are just dead. I like to go to beaches that are just there's no one around but me. I like that. And so I wonder if that's the motivation for these people who want there to be depopulating the world, which I'm not for.
Correct.
I don't believe I don't believe we're overpopulated. But go ahead.
No. You're right. If you take a plane flight across America, you see that there's like tons and tons of land.
Yeah.
And so that kind of correlates with all this, you know, stuff that they try to tell you, like it's all smoke and mirrors. You know, the world's a spinning ball in space. You know, like,
well, that part is definitely true.
People,
it just makes sense. But go ahead.
And then like even like this whole like race hustle thing that we got, like
another
if
big
anybody
lie.
just goes and looks at Thomas Sowell's work.
Yeah.
I mean, he blows it out of the water.
Or just look around. Reality itself defies the claims that they make. You just go around the blacks, or just look at the blacks, or look at the whites, and the truth is right before your eyes if you have eyes to see, I guess.
Yeah, well, and the bottom line is that it's all about control. You know, they want to separate us from God's creation, like God's flat Earth. That is actually how it is. They want to separate. You know, space is fake. Space is totally fake. You know, they made up this whole like the Orion. I forget what it is. Like some kind of thing that they can't get past or whatever.
Oh
like,
yeah, the not Orion's belt, but the Van Allen belt.
Yeah, the Van Allen's belt.
Or whatever.
Yeah, and like if you look at a picture of that quote unquote spacecraft that they took up there to the moon, like you could have drive that thing downtown.
But going to space is different from going downtown.
Yeah, but no, man, it's that thing was made of gold tinfoil. And then satellites. People think satellites are real. Find one picture of a satellite, not an image. Try to find one single picture of a satellite. You cannot do it.
But I see them floating, ambling across the sky.
Yeah, they're helium balloons that are shaped like satellites, or they're satellites with big balloons.
I mean, I can't tell the shape. I just see a bright light or a faint light ambling across the sky.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a light or whatever, but you know, I mean, they're you can't find a picture of them.
I think you're too quick to write stuff off.
Well, I mean,
space is real. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's fine, but No, it's all totally fake. Like, and if you just think in simple terms, I was trying to explain that celestial navigation last time, but even just as simply as just the Earth going around the sun in a circle. The stars on the summer solstice that you see at night and the stars at the winter solstice that you see at night should be completely different, but they're not. Like if you can be on parts of the Earth where you still see like some of I think actually it might be Orion, actually, honestly, the constellations. Like the constellations, they're always in the same spot. They're always in the same place. See, that's an image that you're looking at. That's not a picture.
Yeah. No, I know. I get that these are not photographs that you're saying.
Yeah.
According to you.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them might be. I can't tell.
Those are all fake. Yeah. Oh, there you go. See that one with all the satellites around it? That's like a meme joke. Like this is what Glover's thinking it's like, and there's like hundreds of thousands of satellites up there.
I bet you there are. Did you see the fireball that came down?
I did not. I did not. But it could just be, I mean, they have stuff up there, but it's like NASA's the largest consumer of helium. You want a good stock to buy? Buy a stock that they produce helium, because helium is like one of the most rare assets that
I'm about to disrupt your call. Yeah.
No worries.
Helium is lighter than air. That's why balloons float. But listen to this.
Okay.
Oh, hold up.
Today, there it goes.
Fireball.
Dozens of people sending us pictures and videos of the meteor streaking across the sky. We've got several angles of it for you here tonight. It was bright. You see it in broad daylight right there.
My visual just a little bit behind yours.
Yeah, of course.
Felt that it was too close to home.
Okay,
so we mapped out for you to show you just how far away this meteor actually was from the upstate. Check this out here. NASA confirming tonight the meteor fell over Henry County, which is south of Atlanta. That's how far away it was. Officials say the meteorites
that caught on fire and fell down,
which is the area where
people think that it might have been a tennis ball sized thing that fell down from space, which is so real.
Pieces of the meteorite.
You know how? Have you ever seen a shooting star?
Yeah, I have.
It's the same thing. It's basically it's
likely southwest of this.
What did you about to say?
Well, I don't know what those are, but because
then how can you deny space?
Because all the stuff that the Glovers claim is pretty easily disproven when you actually do an experiment on it.
But how can you experiment with the sun going down below the horizon? Or how can you experiment with a shooting star? Have you ever done an experimental shooting star to duplicate it?
No, but it could just be stuff in the sky that, I mean, we don't know exactly what it is. All that we know is that the stuff that the Glovers believe in is pretty easily disproven. Like, I mean, God, how can we possibly know God's handiwork? It's kind of the idea. We don't.
But you do see some of God's handiwork, and you learn about it, and that's how you get to know a little bit of it.
Yeah, they try. Well, they try to put it all into context of.
Sometimes medicine works, right? Doesn't sometimes medicine work? For example.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's horrible. It goes horribly. And same thing with space and looking under the sea.
Sure.
In the sea. And looking at nature looking at the stuff that's happening. I think that you can find out anyway.
Yeah, but for instance though, so take valerian root, for instance. Valerian root works. It doesn't have to be in a pill, but they turn valerian root into Valium, right?
Oh, okay.
And it creates a more of a heavier effect. And so all that they're really doing is they're taking the part of the chemical that interacts with your neuroreceptor, and they're amplifying it. So the front end of that chemical triggers the action in the body that it wants. The back end of that drug or pharmaceutical, your body doesn't know what to do with. So your body has two ways of getting rid of stuff that it doesn't know what to do with. One is to pee it out or expel it somehow, sweat or breathing. The other is to cover it up. So that's the problem with stuff like that. Like that's why when we try to play God, we always lose.
I get you.
Is that the thing? Okay, I'm seeing the.
Yeah, no, I was. Yeah, somebody thought that they saw something come through their roof and into their ceiling, get stuck in their ceiling that they thought was maybe the meteorite.
Analyze did
So it might have been what it was. What's crazy though?
something bright near Atlanta, moving toward Henry County.
I don't really have time to show all of this, but we'll have to talk more later, Rob and NorCal.
Yeah.
Thank you for your
No
call.
problem,
Happy White History Month to you.
Happy White History Month, man. Appreciate you. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Wow, what a mess. Let me get to Anthony in SoCal. Anthony, you're live. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Hake? I'll make it quick, man. You know, I noticed you have an interest in like etymology. Is that accurate, or is that like a
sort of? Yeah, like where do words come from? Why do they do it? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I thought it was interesting. You brought up a few different topics. The assassination of, was it Tolstoy?
Yeah, Leo Tolstoy. Leon Trotsky. Trotsky was assassinated, not Tolstoy, I think. Trotsky assassination.
And you're also
in Mexico. Wow, he was killed in Mexico. That's
no way.
Yeah.
Modern day Mexico, or is that like modern day Texas?
Oh, well, it was called Mexico City, Coyoacan, Mexico City, Mexico.
Who knows? Mexico City. Look at that handsome fella.
Oh, I don't know. So, yeah, what were you about to say about how did Tolstoy?
Oh no, and you mentioned the pot as well. You know that that's, we'll talk about that another time maybe. But I told you my parents moved here from Egypt in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's interesting is my parents worked all day, so my grandparents raised me, and they only spoke Arabic. So Arabic was the first language I actually learned. Then I learned English. But what's interesting is that reminded me, do you know the etymology of assassin, Hake?
I might have heard about this some time back, like within the past couple of years. What is it?
Yeah, you should. It originates from, it actually shares the same base root as hashish, which is pot, as we know it today. But it comes from the Hashashin, which were Islamic assassins who, I believe the French coined the term assassin from because of how savage the Muslims were assassinating people. Sorry. So assassin and hashish actually.
Your phone cut out. What'd you do? Oh, that's my fault. I don't know how I did that. Go ahead. Sorry about that. When I shouted at you, that's about the assassins. What?
Oh, I was just saying. So assassin and hashish share the same base word, and the reason why they do is because those assassins were usually high on hashish.
Oh.
And they would go around killing people.
Oh.
But yeah, I thought
is that called reefer madness? When they go crazy and kill? A lot. I think it's real. Reefer madness is real. I think it is, actually. For some people,
I think America, we just got like propagandized at some point where like mind-altering substances became normalized.
Yeah.
Or synonymous with medicine, which I think we'll look back and regret that. But so it's funny because in Arabic, an assassin is also, if you say, hey, you're an assassin, it's also the same word as you're a pot addict. So,
wow.
Yeah, they're interchangeable.
That is crazy in Arabic. And this is and that's your first language. So you're not just repeating something that you've heard. So did they ever call you an assassin? Were you ever on pot?
I started smoking pot at 15, and that was one of the biggest regrets of my life. And actually, that interview of what's his name, McAfee. That's the interview that actually got me to stop, because he's totally right.
Yeah,
he's 100% right, and I'm really glad you're talking about it on your show, because I think America was propagandized, man, and so the youth think it's like just cool, or like, oh,
yeah.
I could multitask and be high, so I'm smarter than everyone. You know, it's just not good.
Yeah, totally. It totally was propaganda. They went the opposite extreme, because there was anti-pop propaganda, and now there's pro-pop propaganda. You know what? I just realized that I'm over time. I gotta go.
I know,
Anthony, good talking with you, man.
Appreciate your time, Hank. Take care, sir.
All right. Melanie, Rick, Melanie from Washington State, Rick in Hampton, Jason in Long Island, New York, Robert in Kansas. They wanted to talk about various things. I got to get out of here. Anchor Babies up next. Peace in the Middle East, or at least in your hearts. Bye, guys. Take care.